The effervescent Dawn French a little later. Hello and welcome to Sunday Night. I'm Chris Barth. We begin tonight with a breaking story, a video that's come into our possession that could change your view about one of the most contentious issues facing Australia. An issue that at some stage will confront virtually every one of us. Tonight, you may well ask, has a line been crossed? The video features a beautiful former model and a decision that you'll either support or be shocked by. It's divisive, it's polarising, but it should be heard. Here's Michael Duffy.
You've chosen the day and the time you want to end your life. Are you afraid of death?
No, I'm not afraid of dying at all. It's just to make sure that I do a good job when I do it. And I've been nervous the last few days and sad about it, and I look around and I start to appreciate things more, but I'm very determined to go ahead now. If you're over 80, I think you should be wise enough and live long enough to know what you want to do, surely.
Susan Potts knows exactly what she's doing.
Do your relatives and close friends know about your decisions?
They don't know that I'm going to do it within the next week or so.
A glamorous woman. At 89, Susan is as fit as a flea. There's nothing wrong with her, which is why her desire to die is such a live issue.
You've crossed a line here, haven't you?
Well, yes, I've crossed a line.
How many people a year are you helping to die?
Well, if by helping you mean telling them how they can get the right drugs, it'd have to go into the thousands.
As a young woman, Susan Potts stood out.
She was only small in stature, but she put a presence across that everyone noticed and knew she was there.
In Sydney in the 40s, she enjoyed the high life. A model who went on to become a very successful businesswoman.
She just carried herself with grace and elegance wherever and whatever she did.
Later, she moved to Queensland, where champagne was her drink of choice, Rolls-Royce her preferred car. She had 4 of them and 3 husbands.
She was before her time. She didn't move with the times, she made her own times. Where most women would have been getting married, cooking, cleaning, having children, she wanted a business, she wanted to be independent. So that's what she did.
Are you ill?
No, I work hard at keeping healthy, the things I eat, and I do exercises. But no, I've been lucky that way.
And how did you actually get your drug?
Well, a friend was going over to visit a family, and I said, oh, could you pop into Mexico and get me this Nembutal? I might need it. And she said, okay.
For Australians wanting to take their lives, Nembutal, which is used to euthanise dogs, is their drug of choice. Illegal for human consumption here, it's freely available in Mexico, as I discovered 4 years ago. Don and Iris Flounders had travelled from Melbourne to buy it with the help of Dr Philip NItschke.
Yes, that's the bottle there.
Both would later die after swallowing the drug that Susan intends to take.
I decided I was just going to take Nembutal and just fade away.
But Susan Potts could never just fade away. On Friday, the 19th of October, she asked the pro-euthanasia group, Exit International, to record an interview with her. It was her wish that it be made public.
I'm too old now myself to do anything to help euthanasia get into Parliament or whatever they do to make it legal. And I thought, You know, if somebody happens to watch the video, they might get the urge to do something about it. And in that way, I feel I might be doing a little bit to help.
This is Susan's home. Many a happy year had been spent here, but it was the prospect of inevitable decline that weighed heavily.
I know I could have somebody come and live with me and look after me, and cook my meals and bathe me, but I couldn't think of anything worse.
When you spoke to her, did you know that was the last time?
Yes.
Elaine Arch-Rowe did that interview with Susan.
You didn't try to talk her out of it?
Not at all. No. I don't think I could have, really. I could maybe have postponed it for her, but it wouldn't have been for long. Because she just lost her dog, see, and she was hanging on. And she'd said that she was hanging on to life and until the dog went. And when the dog went, she was going to go.
In her later years, Susan had two great loves. Third husband Ralph, who died in 2007, and her dog Sky, who recently passed away.
Has this influenced your decision that now is the time you want to go?
Very much so. I didn't realise how much I depended on Sky. I was happy at night to go to bed because I knew she would protect me. Now I'm terrified. I'm still crying every night when I go to bed, and she's not there to look at. And when I get up of a morning, she's not there to have her patch she got rubbed down every morning.
After her interview, Susan left a note for her favourite niece, Danielle. Then, on Tuesday the 23rd of October, Susan Potts drank her Nembutal, went to bed and never woke up. Danielle found her the next day.
You always want to keep the person you love around as long as possible. But at some stage you have to be the one that bears the burden to lose her.
And she was loved by the family, wasn't she?
More than she knows. I hope she realises how much. Maybe I should stop.
This issue is very personal for Danielle. Her mother, Susan's sister, was the famed horsewoman, pastoralist and author Sarah Henderson. She led an extraordinary life, but had a terrible death.
What was her illness?
Cancer. It was raging inside her. She asked to go, but doctors aren't allowed to let them go.
And how did she make that request?
She just asked outright, can I go?
Do you think, had there been a legal euthanasia, that your mother's situation might have been different?
Yeah. My mother had a very strong heart, and when you have a strong heart, basically you starve to death.
And how did your aunt deal with your mother's illness?
It was very difficult for her. Losing her sister after she expected to grow old with her, that just took away another reason for being here.
Some people might think that your action is drastic, that you're throwing away a healthy life just because you're afraid of an illness or an incapacity which might never occur. A stroke doesn't necessarily mean that you become incapacitated. Some people might think that you're ungrateful considering your good health and life. What would you tell them?
Well, it's a gamble, isn't it? That, and if I was 60, I'd certainly take the gamble and not do it. But at 80, at 89, any of those possibilities are very, very possible. And if we had euthanasia, then I could say, look, I've had a stroke, or somehow I could communicate and say I want to leave. But what do? They put me in a home. And that terrifies me, that thought.
What advice did you give her?
She wanted to know about drugs, ones that work, not ones that might work. And so we gave her the information she wanted. What are the best drugs and how do you get them?
Dr Philip NItschke is the head of Exit International.
Do you understand that some people will see in the case of Susan, a healthy woman, helping her to die as kind of a slippery slope? She wasn't sick.
No, she wasn't sick, but she was clear of mind. She had considered all of the options, and then she made a rational, informed decision that now was the time to die. Now, who's going to criticise that? What am I supposed to say to her? I'm sorry.
I think lots of people will criticise that.
Well,
you've crossed a line here, haven't you?
Well, yes, I've crossed a line. I remember crossing it, actually. I know exactly when I crossed this line, but as I crossed that line, I could see that that was a line that one should cross. I've heard increasingly now from elderly people, they're not sick, but they still want to be able to make that choice. When they get to a point where they feel that this is an appropriate time to die, you can call it a tired of life phenomena, I suppose, if you like. Like, a point is reached, they set a date, and that's the day then they want that peaceful, reliable death.
Well, where do you draw the line? She was 89. Would it be a different situation if she was 39?
We've set an age of 50, and the reason we set that age is to say you've got to have some reasonable life experience to make a decision like this.
But 50 is very young to
Yes.
kill yourself when you're not sick.
But 50-year-old people make decisions on all sorts of matters. Some of those matters are life-changing, and of course this is the biggest of the life-changing decisions that you might make. And again, if you're 50 years old, you've lived for 50 years, and you decide that now's the time that you want a peaceful, reliable death, is it up to the rest of us to come and put roadblocks and obstacles in your way and force you to live on? I don't think so. I think respecting people means that we have to acknowledge the fact that sometimes people will decide to die.
Do you believe in God or a life ever after?
I would love to, but I don't. Well, I've read the Bible, and it seems to me to be just a lovely story that's gone on and added to. And a lot of things just I can't believe.
There will be no funeral. All Susan wanted is that her ashes be scattered in her garden.
Do you wish she delayed that decision and she was still here and that we weren't having this conversation?
Oh, of course. In her present health, you could never tell. She could have been here another 10 years. My mother's been gone years, but not a day goes by that she doesn't pass through my mind. And it'll be the same with Auntie Sue.
Michael Duffy with that report. And if that story has raised personal concerns for you or your loved ones, on our website you'll find links to several organisations, including Lifeline, where help and advice are available. Next, high tea and a barrel of laughs with Dawn French.
Dawn French.
Hello. Having tea. How very British. I'll always be the fool. That's my job. I'm in comedy.
Too hot for you.
Hello, I'm Dawn French, and I'll see you on Sunday night. Cheers.